सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति। Chapter 15. Purushottama Yoga, the yoga of Supreme Self. Traditionally, this chapter is considered very auspicious. And those people, there are people who do this chapter as Parayana every day. Entire chapter they do the chanting. And in many places, people do this chanting before meal. The entire chapter, 15th chapter is done. Very small chapter, just 20 verses. Not a complicated chapter. Many people take it as, the chapter is very, complex. Chapter is not complicated. The problem with the chapter is it speaks about the truth so directly. Throughout the Bhagavad Gita, we find Krishna speaking very diplomatically. Entire Gita, all other chapters you see, second chapter, third chapter, fourth chapter, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, and all the chapter. He speaks to the gallery, to the student. He speaks that for the understanding of Arjuna. So he comes down to the level of Arjuna and then he speaks. In 15th chapter, he expects Arjuna to come up to Krishna's level. So here, it's almost he touches the Upanishad and comes back. That's the beauty of the chapter. No diplomacy here. Direct declaration of truth. That's why this chapter is difficult. Because we are used to, even inside the house, we are used to speaking very diplomatically. We are not used to speaking truth, plain, blunt, direct. We can't understand it. We just speak the truth straight. Not possible. You have to look into the mood of the person and which word you use and which tone you use. How dare you call me housewife? Homemaker. We are so used to that now. That's why we may find this chapter, very uninspiring. In terms of traditionally, those who don't understand the meaning of that verse, chanting wise that goes. That's a devotional angle, right? But when you come to the meaning here, message of the 15th chapter is for all purpose useless. You cannot use any one of this idea in your daily life. Whereas Karma Yoga is very interesting. Bhakti Yoga is very, very interesting. Dhyana Yoga is very interesting. The 14th chapter which we saw, Gunatraya Vibhaga Yoga, Sattva Guna, Rajo Guna, Tamo Guna, and all these things, very engaging and interesting for us to study. This 15th chapter is such a bore. It's talking about, this one, that one. Okay, by knowing all that, what's going to happen? It's like a fellow asking, by being sane, what's going to happen? What am I to answer? Okay, you don't know who you are, what you are. Okay, by knowing who I am, what's going to happen? What answer you will give? I'm telling you, you have gone mad. And you're asking me, a mad person is asking, what's the value of sanity? What is the answer you will give? Insane I am also going to die. You are a sane person, you are also going to die. Finally, both of us are going to land where? Same graveyard. So what's the point of being sane if someone were to ask? What would you answer? It is something like that. No? The chapter speaks so beautifully about the truth. Because he is concluded in the 14th chapter. I am the abode of Brahman. Just a little recap of what we did in the 14th chapter first. Then we can enter into the 15th chapter proper. 14th chapter, Krishna himself started. There is no question from Arjuna, because every chapter either Krishna himself will start the thinking, or sometimes Arjuna would ask a question, the answer that comes to that question is the chapter. The 14th chapter is Krishna speaking. So first he explained the greatness of the knowledge, and then he moved on to the creation, how the creation happens. Krama, verse 3 and 4, if I am correct. Long gap, no? So I also forgot. First two verses, the 14th chapter, is the glory, the greatness of this knowledge. In the 15th chapter, he is going to say the same thing in the last verse. 20th verse will be the greatness of the knowledge, the beauty of this knowledge. Because everywhere we need to know what is it good? Like, when we have this public lectures, Gita lectures, used to happen wherever, I've seen it many places. Everywhere people would come. At least I have seen every lecture series, at least one inquiry will come. We'll be having so many CDs, talks, Swamiji's lectures. Always they come and ask, which is the best in that? And tell them next talk will be the best. What do you mean by, which is the best talk? We always have that, fascination for the best. You go to a restaurant, first thing you ask, what's your signature dish? You go to buy a phone, which is the best model? The first model is the best model. Whatever comes afterwards is what? Just a change in that, change in that, change in that, change in that. That's about it. Otherwise, there is no big difference. From the button phone to touch phone is the upgrade. After you come to a touch phone, what difference does it make? Whether we keep on changing. It's the best one. It's the best one. The first thing he tells is the greatness of the knowledge. And then he moves on to the creation, the krama. How the creation happens. Upadana karana, nimitta karana, and all those things. All the analysis he did. And then he moved on to the discussion of how in that creation there are three gunas. Right. The world what we see is the three gunas. So the entire chapter we have this discussion. The major portion of the chapter is dedicated to the study about the guna. Therefore, the title given for the 14th chapter is Gunatraya Vibhagya, the yoga of distinction of the three gunas. About that guna, he did few analysis. First, he defined what is that guna. What do you mean by, what is the meaning of Sattva Guna? What is the meaning of Rajoguna? What is the meaning of Tamoguna? The Lakshana, he said. Define it first. After defining, he moved on to the next idea of how those guna creates a bondage. How sattva binds, how rajas binds, and how tamas binds, the bondage. Sattva binds you to knowledge and happiness. Rajas binds you to activity. Tamas binds you to laziness and indifference. The bondage of it. How they bind. And then how they function actually. The expression of it. Because every human is a combination of all the three gunas. So how the gunas create that samsara, that one, and then from the definition he derives few points. That is, when we say a person is sattvic, that doesn't mean he is devoid of rajoguna and tamoguna. He has that. But then predominantly he is sattvic. Therefore we call him sattvic. The moment you say Sachin Tendulkar, what comes to your mind? Kapil Dev, what comes to your mind? Messi, what comes to your mind? Ronaldo, what comes to your mind? He is a footballer. This is his person. None of you say he is also husband, no? He is also father, no? Correct? No other aspect of that personality will come to us. Only one dimension will come. Why? Because that is the dominating one that we know. You see, similarly, when you say a person is sattvic, a person is rajasic, a person is tamasic, doesn't mean he is not having any other guna, please. He has other gunas also, but then this is the guna that dominates that person. So the dominated personality, what happens? How those things affect and how they express. How can you identify? Beautifully he moves on to the next idea of, okay, I have understood the lakshana of that, I have understood how the bandha it creates, how it binds me, and now he moves on to the fourth idea where he says it is, how are you to identify what is your position now? As of now, what are you? In this moment, all of you are sattvic. Right? Why? You are interested in knowledge. And you are relatively relaxed, not fidgety. And you are not sleeping, I suppose. Right? If you are sleeping in the class means what? Sattvically tamasic. You sleep only in the class, sir. Otherwise, I don't sleep. I can't sleep in the bed, but then I can sleep in your class. What is that, sir? That is Sattvic. Swamiji would say, Krishna says, there are three. Sattvic people, Rajasic people, Tamasic people, and then you are all. But he says, I don't know where to categorize you fellows. Like that. We don't know where you are actually. So you need to know where you are, what you are. So that he gives as to the indications of when the particular guna dominates, how it will express in your life. The expression part of it. How it manifests. How a particular guna influences you. And when you are under the influence of Rajoguna, how you will behave. When you are under the influence of Tamoguna, how you will behave. All these things. Then he moves on to the next idea. Okay. When you are having that influence, what happens to you as a person? Right now, later, after. Right now means when you are alive in this life. Then he says what happens after life. The fruit, the effect of it. The effect of the guna he classifies into two, puts into two categories. One is after death, what will happen? If you are predominantly sattvic person, what sort of a life you will have next? Right? Because as far as we are concerned, after life, after death, what happens is more of a theory for us. It's just, a casual information as far as we are concerned. Reincarnation. A lot of people say, do you believe in reincarnation? How many of you believe in reincarnation? Huh? Right? You believe that? Yes. If you genuinely believe it, you will not live the way you are living now. Impossible. How many fathers you have had, how many husbands you have had, how many wives you have had, how many kids you have had already. And in another 25 years down the line, you are going to claim somebody else going to be your husband. Imagine, after 2.5 weeks, you are going to call another person as your husband. What are you then? Somebody else as my child. And that fellow also comes and says, I am not your child, I am their child. What are you going to do now? Right now itself there is a fight in the house. Are you mummy's child or daddy's child? There is a fight there. Imagine the fellow says, neither. I am neighbors. The family will collapse now. Isn't it? Be chaotic. Can you believe that? Huh? The land is registered in my name. The land will be laughing. How many fellows I have seen claiming, I am the owner, I am the owner, I am the owner, and now you are claiming. In fact, it says, I am the one who owns you. You are not my owner. I am your owner, says the land. What a grace. See, if you genuinely think, sir, one life, even then you will not be living the life the way you are living now. Suppose if you were to believe there is only one life, you cannot be living your current lifestyle. If you believe there is continuity of life after, even then you cannot be living the way you are living your life. Either case, your life is completely divorced from your own beliefs. So we will say, we want to study about reincarnation. For what? It's tough actually. But as far as the scriptures are concerned, it's a fact. For you and me, it is just a notion. It's a belief. It's a theory. But as far as Krishna is concerned, it is a fact. He treats it as a fact. Now, how can he treat it as a fact? We have no business to challenge. He treats it as a fact. If you can treat it as a belief, he can treat it as fact. So he says, what happens after death? If you are dominated by sattva, what sort of a life you will have next? If you are dominated by rajas, what sort of a life you will have? I am not explaining all that, because if I start any one point, all of the class, 15th chapter will not go. We will have to go back to 14th chapter again. Right? That's why I am just telling you what was there. And then what is the impact of this guna right now in your life? In this life, where it will take you. Sattva will take you to what? Rajas will take you to what? And tamas will take you to what? When Krishna spoke about the gunas and all these things, Sattva guna, Rajo guna, Tamo guna and all these things, Arjuna intercepts with the question. Suddenly. Can you talk about a person who has transcended all the gunas? Because the study of that guna itself is to get out of the guna. You see, the study of the guna is not to stay within the guna. Right? You study that only to jump out, escape. So Arjuna asked the question, can you describe a person who has transcended the gunas? And how he has transcended? And what is his lifestyle? Right? These are the three questions he asked. And Krishna gives the answer to those three questions. So how do you overcome? Overcome tamas through rajas. Overcome rajas through sattva. And through jnanam, you transcend the gunas. This is the method. I repeat. How do you overcome tamoguna? Tamoguna you can overcome only by promoting rajoguna. Right. How do you overcome rajoguna now? Only by promoting sattva. Then how do you transcend the sattva guna? Through jnana. What jnanam? 15th chapter. You follow? A link. So how he links the 14th to the 15th chapter. Because Arjuna asked that question, how a person has reached that state of gunatita? What is the method? How do you transcend the gunas? The transcendence of the gunas comes only through jnanam. What jnanam? There's only one jnanam you need to have. Brahma Satyam, Jagat Mithya. Right. The 15th chapter, he is going to explain only that. The entire 15th chapter is Brahma Satyam, Jagat Mithya. The illusory nature of the Jagat and the Jiva also are understood. And the Satyatva of the self, Brahman. So how Brahman is the truth. So in that process, he explains what this Jagat is, what the Jiva is, and then what is the substratum and beyond. Kshara, Akshara, Uttama Purusha. Right. You will be hearing this word again and again and again now. Every class you will be hearing these three words. Kshara, Akshara, Uttama Purusha. Kshara, perishable. Akshara, imperishable. Uttama Purusha, beyond the perishable and the imperishable. Supreme being. Literal translation is Uttama Purusha. Uttama means supreme. Purusha means being. So Uttama Purusha means supreme being. The one who is beyond Kshara and Akshara. That's why this chapter is difficult. Because the problem with this chapter is that he is going to establish first the mithyatva of the world. Even though the statement is Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya, the teaching will happen the other way around. First the teaching will be Jagat Mithya, then Brahma Satyam. Because most of us don't have a problem with Brahma Satyam. Actually speaking, if you really think, yeah, Brahman is truth, reality, Brahman is the absolute reality. Okay, that we will not have a problem. The moment I say the world is illusion, Mithya, that we will have a problem. So first he is going to establish that. Other chapters are very easy. Now here is the chapter where the final goal of the self and the path to reach that goal is stated so directly. Very rare we find, in the Gita where he talks about the goal and also the path, so direct. Sanga sastrena dridayana chittva. What is the goal? Samsara to be cut down. How do you cut it, man? Like this Isavasya Upanishad. Meditate and realize the self. Full stop. Isavasya vidagam sarvam. Kincha jagatyam jagat. Thena tyaktena bhujita. Makrita kasya sutta. That last sentence is the most interesting one. The first three is simple. How do you get it? By renunciation. Then suddenly he comes down to say, Magrada, why do you covet others' wealth? It's like talking to, you and me. Why do you want others' wealth? From where to where he comes down. Looks. Says, Asanga sastrena dridhena chittva. Says, just cut it, man. Why? Because it's a huge tree. The samsara is a huge tree. The difficulty of the chapter is because of this. Because you would be able to appreciate the chapter only if you have two things: Shraddha and Vairagya. Without that Shraddha and Vairagya, you cannot connect to the chapter. It's not possible. Just say that, yeah, nice, it's nice to hear, but then it will not create an impact in you. For the chapter to create an impact, you need this one. Because the problem for all of us is, anything we pursue all that motivated by the result. See, the fruit is what drives our action. In fact, you invest your actions, reap the results. It's just a trade-off. See, I work, I earn. So your work is a trade-off for your earnings. Anything you do is done only for trade-off. Imagine it's not going to produce any result. No result you will get, but you have to do it. How many of us will be interested? Sir, I may not get it anything immediately, but I will get something in future. Right? If people say, why do you get married? In old age, somebody should be there, no? For what? To talk? No, why do you have to talk? Bore the other fellow? I never understood that. Why do you need another person to talk? Have you seen these radio jockeys? You heard, no? FM radio. Is there anybody sitting there? They keep talking, no? They go on and on and on and on. No problems. You see, these radio artists, you will never find them coming for this, stage performance. radio artists. Why? Their best performance will come only when nobody is there. The moment they see audience, they can't sing. These people can't go and sing there. Because if they have to sing, someone should be there. I don't know how many of you have been to radio station. School, we had one, we call the quiz competition. We had been there in the team. Not because they are brilliant or anything. There's nobody else in the classroom. And one day holiday you get. And you go to the radio station, they'll give you, food and all these things. Samosa, tea and all that you get. For that I went. It's all, And you go there, before us, there was another program. Somebody was singing, songs, Carnatic song, music. Recording was going on. And we are seeing, these people are sitting there. I thought they were all really interested. My God, so many are interested in music, Carnatic music. Very good, he said. After that I realized, it's not because of that. Otherwise this fellow can't sing. He has told them, it seems, I need audience. If audience not there, I can't sing. But teaching, you need audience, correct. So I can't come here and teach to the chairs. It's not possible. But there are people who do that also. They don't need anybody. They just sit and talk. Who cares? Like in Ramana's life, Ramana Maharshi, he used, whatever, this nuts and all these things, when he gets, he used to give it to the monkeys and all that. So one day some, devotee had brought a lot of peanuts. They had a full bag of peanuts. So he was giving, with him, those monkeys were very familiar. They don't have a problem with Ramana because they're buddies like. No issues. So he was taking those things and keeping it, they come and pick from his hands. And this man was taking, little by little. How much you can hold in your hand? It takes a little and keeps. And these monkeys are coming and there are suddenly, group of monkeys came. And the moment the group of monkeys came means there's a fight. And he was telling them, hey, enough is there here, wait. I'll give all of you will get, wait, no. Yes. And one of his, disciple was standing there. Bhagavan. He is called as, Bhagavan. Bhagavan. You're asking them all this, you're telling them, will they understand? He looked at him and said, do you understand what I say? As though you understand all that I'm saying. You're telling me, do they understand? Neither you understand nor they understand. It doesn't make a difference, he says. Fascinating. So this master, Krishna says, Jagat Mithya, do you understand? The problem is that, why is because we do not have that qualification. The essential qualification required for you to connect to the chapter is that idea of what all our work is what is extroverted. Keep moving on. This extroverted mind can never relate to this chapter. It's not possible. You need that introversion, which is what we call as vairagya. It's a little vairagya. Now the problem is, what is vairagya is again a problem for us. The Shraddha we don't understand. What is Shraddha? The vairagya we don't understand. Whether we want to understand what is Jagat Mithya. How is illusion? What you will understand, even if it is explained also. It's not that they are not explaining it, they are explaining it, but you can't connect to it. It doesn't, ring a bell. That inspiration doesn't come. If you have that and read this verse, it's like, invigorating. Beautiful verses there. This extroversion problem is what? The problem with extroversion is that you can never go to anything fully. That's the problem. It's called lack of Shraddha. When we say lack of Shraddha, Shraddha means what? Shraddha means the capacity to pursue something till the end, not leaving halfway. The extroverted mind will never allow you to pursue anything fully. That's the issue here. The difficulty is we have to pursue something. You will go along with it for a period of time. Suddenly you start feeling it's wrong. And the moment you see this side is wrong, immediately you take the other side to be the right and start moving in the opposite direction. You pursue that. You move in that direction for a period of time. After moving there for a period of time, again what happens? That's wrong. Again what do we do? Move back. Constantly this movement, it's like this. The addiction, people who have that addiction, they know what they are doing is not correct. No addict says, I am happy, I am doing the right thing. No addict will say that. Anyone who addicted to the drinks or cigarette or drugs, every one of them want to get out of it. But they say what? I am not able to. I am helpless. Can you help me? The addiction of the mind is the extrovertedness. When one part of the mind is enjoying something, the other part of it goes on creating a guilt. No. There's an attachment. One part of you will go along with it. Another part of you will say, no. One part of you will function as though the world is permanent. It's going to be with you. Another part in you keeps on coming and telling you, no. You cannot go with no, you cannot go with yes. When you are moving with yes, the no comes and disturbs. When you move towards no, yes comes and disturbs. Completely torn apart. It's a sad position, actually. If you say no, go to the end of no. If you say yes, go to the end of yes. The problem is you can neither move in that direction. So what happens? Go little and then say no, go back. And then go little, go back, go little, go back, go little, go back. Like rocking chair, Go on rocking. After a point, what happens? Like if you travel in the train, 2 days. The train, even if you get off from the train also, you will feel like moving. That giddiness will be there. It's all coming from where? The mind's result-oriented approach. That's extroverted mind. Lacking Shraddha. The mind which has Shraddha will not go through all these things. It takes up something, it will pursue. The problem we have is we just, go on, following things without any specific approach. Just casually we go. Pursue it in a very innocuous way. Vairagya is another one, very interesting. Vairagya is the capacity in you to drop something which is not productive. It is not giving you what it promises. It's like there is in old age, good old days, those people are hunting for the diamonds and gold and all that, searching for diamonds, gold, and all these things. Digging was going on. Like now we go on digging for this, what is it? This rare earth minerals, petrol. They are digging for petrol for a period. Before that, they were digging for these things. So a group of people thought there is a diamond. There's a diamond mine. So the whole group went and they were digging and digging and digging and digging. Months together they were digging. Only mud is coming, everything else is coming except diamond. And finally the chief engineer of the mine said, tomorrow is the last day. Right? We are going to dig. If we get it, we'll continue. If we don't find anything tomorrow, we are closing the mine. That's it. Deadline is fixed. And that was announced. So dig as much as possible. So everyone started digging with more vigor, because obviously, after a period of time, you lose your, motivation. So they were digging with such vigor. Lunchtime, evening time, nothing. And then in the late evening, everybody started packing their bags because they had to come out. Come up. They say, we are leaving, man. 6 o'clock, if they have to leave, means 5 o'clock itself they have to pack their bags and get out. Start, climbing up. Everybody was climbing up. In between, there is one fellow. It's like his commitment to something, not like Shraddha. He has heard the lecture on Shraddha. So he said, I want having that Shraddha. That fellow was digging. 30% more vigor he puts in effort than what he was doing all these days. He was digging, everybody is leaving. They are saying, we are not packing. He said, no, I am continuing. I said, what nonsense. We are going to close. Finish and come fast. You guys go, I am not coming. I know there is diamond here. Otherwise you will not start. So we will work. I will work. And he works and works and works. And everybody left around, 6 o'clock or so, twilight. He sees something, nobody is there. This only fellow inside. He sees sparkling. But he takes and keeps. And he looks around, nobody is there. The biggest diamond. And he is crazy. He says, my God, nobody is there. And he was holding that, keeping it like that and walking. And everybody was asking him, every day you walk with, like a majestic walk you will have, like a, manly walk you will have. Why you are walking like, diffident? Don't worry, we will find diamond. Don't worry, if not here, we will go and find somewhere else. Don't get disheartened. Don't get disappointed. He says, no. And he was just walking. And everybody is inquiring him, there is nothing. And he goes inside the house. His wife opens the door. He says, get out of the house. He tells his wife, get out. Because the moment anybody sees he has a diamond, what will happen? People will not jump into the mine. They'll pounce on this fellow. He will be attacked first. Because he knows how everyone is waiting for that diamond. So hey, nothing doing. So he keeps close and he says, go. He says, why you are asking me to go out? He says, no, go to the temple and do a puja and come back. Why are you asking me to go to the temple to do puja and come back? He can't tell her. And the problem, you know what? He is holding it so tightly and it started poking. Right? Diamond, no. Sharp. It is. You can imagine, it started poking. And he didn't care. And bleeding, he didn't care. He said, nothing doing, I am keeping it. And the wife goes out. Quickly he closes the door. Locks all the windows and all these things. Open. Glass piece. Right. What he will do now? What is he going to do now? Huh? That's called Vairagya. What else is that? He was holding on to it. Why? He was under the notion that is diamond. The moment he understood that's just a glass piece, what is he going to do then? That capacity to see the reality, that's the knowledge chapter 15 gives. It just throws light onto what you are holding on is just a glass piece, it's not diamond. The problem is we never look into it. If that fellow would have looked at it properly there itself, what he would have done? Maybe you would have continued digging. That's a different thing. But you wouldn't have picked it up and holding on to it and then, believing everybody is bad, everybody is idiot, I am the most, intelligent person. See, God has blessed me. Why? Because of my Shraddha. All these fellows were not having that belief. Only I had the belief. None of these guys had the hard work. Only I had the hard work. He blessed me with all these things. Therefore, I got the diamond. All these ideas he had from where? Why he had all that? Because he never looked into it properly. If he would have looked into it properly, none of these issues would have been there. Problem is that. That's why in the 15th chapter, he analyzes what is it? What is this world? What is this made up of? So make a proper analysis of what you are experiencing. The involvement with which you are living your life is exactly like this fellow. Holding on. You would not leave it. It's just association, that's all it is. It's just a notion. It is a belief. And the mind goes on trading. And it will convert anything and everything. So that's what he gives here. Keep aside this. This samsara is like a huge tree. A beautiful description of samsara. He gives. What is this samsara? And who is the jiva? What is this world? World in the sense not like, chair, table and all that, please. That's what he says. The world means the samsara that you are experiencing. The constancy of your association. The moment you have that Shraddha, that faith, the commitment. The problem is we do not have that commitment to investigate. When you have the commitment to investigate and then go in, the chapter will be superb. Otherwise, the chapter has no, direct meaning. Directly speaking, if you want to see a utility in the chapter, there's no direct utility of the chapter. Will this chapter help me to resolve my problems? I have a problem with my mother-in-law. Will it help? 15th chapter will not help. Business problem is there, sir. Will it help? Will not help. If I read that 15th chapter, I have, back pain. Will my back pain disappear? There's a good chance it may increase. It will not disappear. You know, because today, spiritual means only these three things. Either it should help you to be successful in the world. Success means what? Economics. Or healing. Or relationship. That's all it is. Beyond these three, we do not understand anything spiritual. Either it has to resolve human relationships, or it has to help you to get over some illness. Healing. All my chakras get aligned. Chakra aligning. Chakra means it's constantly moving. Right? How can it be aligned? Diwali you had? Oh, you people are all very modern, no? You don't do crackers, no? Useless fellows. How many of you did crackers? Good. You are Dheer. Give to Dheer here. We are all, environmental. This one. Stop using car. We need to come to your class now, sir. Pollution. That there is one, no? The chakra they'll have. Imagine you keep 7 chakras. You can ask those chakras to get aligned. Is it possible? That chakra you can't align. This chakra you are going to align? I didn't understand that. And people subscribe also to that. They say alignment of all the chakras. First align your, the thought, word and deed. Chakra you don't even know. Where is it? What is it? You don't know. The thought, word, deed you know. No. Can you get the alignment of this first? Known you can't align. Unknown how you are going to align? Very easy, sir. All that you have to do, what? You get a bowl and a stick. Ting! Aligned. My God. I don't know what to tell people now. I don't know, is the Krishna correct or these people correct? Healing. You think spirituality is for your healing. And there are another group of people who come to spirituality for material. Success formula. Management lessons from Bhagavad Gita. What? 15th chapter, what management lesson you will get? Ashanga sastrena dridena chitva, he says. What you should do then? Cut down the tree of samsara. What's your samsara? Business. What you should do then? Take it out of registration only. Completely cut down, he says. And we keep doing it. We think, Bhagavad Gita is to build your business. With the Gita philosophy, how I can build my business. Hey, exactly opposite. He is asking you to cut down. You are go on expanding. It's crazy. Or the third possibility is what? Relationship problem. Problem with relations. Beyond these three, material, success, physical healing, emotional relationships. Beyond these three, there is no religion. There is no spirituality. You can go anywhere. Like religion, we say, superstition, mechanical rituals, parroting ideas. This is with reference to religion. With reference to spirituality, what is it, sir? These three. A spiritual person, spiritually aligned. I'm going to align myself spiritually, sir. For what? Okay, you aligned yourself to spiritually. For what? Success, healing, relationship. Beyond these three, we know nothing. If these three things are not guaranteed, see, along with that, you will have self-discovery also. That's okay. Minus these three, self-discovery, how many will be interested? You come to Vedanta, nothing will happen. This is the first lecture, Vedanta. What does it we say? The world is divided into two parts. One part of the globe, active, dynamic, productive, prosperous, no peace. Another side of the world, we have people who are very peaceful, but no activity, productivity, prosperity. Is there a possibility where we can combine productivity and peace? That's Vedanta. I genuinely thought it's true. After entering only I realized neither productivity nor peace here. Both gone completely. You need that promise, you see, without which it has got nothing to do with any one of those things. We all understand this side of it. That's why we say, to speak the truth you need courage. Remember, Krishna is courageous. If this 15th chapter is not there in the Bhagavad Gita, I would have said Krishna is exactly like a diplomat. Full stop. He is not a teacher. He is not a guru. The title Jagat Guru, he would not be qualified. It's, simply given to him. But because of that 15th chapter, Krishna deserves the title Jagat Guru. Because to speak the truth uncompromisingly needs tremendous courage. You see, like in the Kena Upanishad he says now, Tadeva Brahmatvam Viddhi Nedam Nididam Upasate. Tadeva Brahmatvam. 5 times he repeats. That is Brahman, not what you are worshipping. That is Brahman, not what you are worshipping. That is Brahman, not what you are worshipping. To whom he says all that? Not to you. Why? You are not worshipping anything. You see, that Kena Upanishadic master speaks that to those people who are involved in the worship, who are engaged and committed to worship, believing that's the final truth. That itself is, that's what everything is. To speak that you need courage to that audience. Today you repeat it has no meaning, remember. God is not in the temple alone. Then what? God is everywhere. Do you see? Do you see divinity everywhere? We just borrow these words, now. Same way, we have just borrowed these ideas, this borrowed knowledge. Why? Because technology is there, information is easily available today. About 200 years back, 500 years back, this much of informations were not available. If you have to learn something, you have to go. I say people used to go to Kashi. Where you have to go to Kashi or Kanchipuram or this place, that place, and search for the experts. It's not easy to find an expert in any field for that matter. Even carpentry. You don't find carpenters everywhere. You find someone who is expert in making the sculptures. You have to go in search of that man, find him, sit under his feet, learn. Today people are learning painting online. Nobody is to train. Online, learning. There's a form of painting, I don't know how many of you have heard of. Dropping. What do? You don't take brush and all that. Create a surface and pour paint. See the YouTube, amazing it is. Of course, there are so many techniques in that. They say this is there, that is there. There are 27 techniques of pouring. All that you have to do is what? Simply pour. Take 4 or 5 colors and pour those things. And that becomes a painting. It's amazing. Imagine about 200 years back, 500 years back, if someone were to learn that art, how they are going to learn it? To go in search of people. It's not available. Today it's available. Thereby you start believing what? Since that informations were available and you have taken that information and it is going and sitting in your memory, we can't distinguish between knowledge and memory. We think both are same. Information and wisdom is treated as same. Buddha says, life is suffering. Life is full of suffering. And desire is the cause of your suffering. You read that. And then you also repeat what? Life is full of suffering, sir. Life is full of suffering. Life is full of suffering. Is your life full of suffering? Or there is pleasure also, there is enjoyment also, there is happiness also. In between I have certain pains. Is it continuous pain or it is just intercepted by pain? For most of us, it is just intercepted by pain. I have seen a person who was a beggar and he is a leper. He would sit with people, talk, laugh, smile. Unbelievable. I used to really wonder, that fellow, he would come every day. He has a route. We know at this time this fellow will come into our street. He has a religious route he comes. And to the corner shop he will go and buy one BD. He will buy one BD. Yeah, that's all he can afford. He will take one BD from there and sit in the corner and keep smoking. He'll be smoking that. And along with him, there is a slum. The other side of the street, there's a slum. People will be, from there, and this fellow will be sitting there, chatting, discussions. Whether MGR is correct or not, Indira Gandhi, what she did was right or wrong. All the discussions will be happening. Heated arguments will go, the laughter will come, and this one will come, that one will come. There's a new fellow called Rajinikanth has come. This guy is superb, yeah, this fellow. He's acting very nicely, man. He's very interesting. The style of this guy is very different. From 1980 to 2025, same style. But still it works, huh? That's the best part of it. It doesn't work for everybody. Kamala Hassan is not like that. Every movie is different. Comedy also different. Tragedy also different. Makeup also different. This fellow, nothing doing. Only makeup for him is, what? Wig. The only thing he has to have. Otherwise, nothing, just comes. Works great. Even in his life there is pleasure, no? Happiness is there. Now, even the one who is most happiest person we can think of, he also has issues. So it's not that your life is full of suffering, but we keep repeating it. You see, remember, speaking the truth is not easy. It needs courage. Tremendous courage is needed. Like today, what is the courageous statement? Do not practice meditation. Demands tremendous courage. God is not in the temple alone. Doesn't require any courage. Why? Because you don't believe in that. But what is your belief today? Belief today is spirituality means one yoga or else meditation. Doing some asanas, chakra alignment, or meditate. To tell you, both have got nothing to do. One is not spiritual, for another one you are not qualified. That's not course. One is preparation. Another one is the final gateway. You go on preparing for what they do now, NEET exam, no? Medical? NEET exam. Even if you score number 1, All India rank number 1 in NEET, doesn't mean you are a doctor. Correct? You can say, I am All India number 1. Still what? That has got nothing to do with medicine. That has got nothing to do with your being qualified to be a doctor. The qualification as a doctor comes only when? After you have started the process and completed that 5 years. After that 5 years only, you will be given a license. Qualified as a doctor. Now, you have not even joined the course. You have not even started. That is yoga. This extreme. Another extreme is what? Dhyana. Where you just keep a single thought. Sustain a single thought for a long period of time. Without any other thought. Without a second thought. A thought. Sustain a thought for a long period of time, that's called meditation. You are not qualified for that. This is preparation. It's not actual spiritual path. It's not the path. It's a preparation for the path. Another extreme is this, and today the whole world is going in the direction of what? Only these two things are taken and projected as though that is called spiritual. It's neither. It's wrong. To say this, you need courage. See, to say this, you need courage. To tell you people, superstitious belief, mechanical ritual, that's not courage. Why? Because you yourself believe that. Now, what am I to tell you? So, when I tell you that, why do you do this? Why do you break coconut? For what? You prepared idli, coconut chutney. That doesn't require any courage. Why? Because that's what you believe. So what you believe for me to say doesn't require any courage on my part. Where you are going wrong, to correct there demands tremendous courage and karuna, compassion. Because it is impossible for you to agree with someone who says exactly opposite to what you believe. If you are agreeing means you are lying. See, it's just simple lying, that's it. You deep-rootedly, you cannot agree. It's not possible. It's difficult. That's why every class we chant, Ma vid Vishavahi. Why we go on repeating, Ma vid Vishavahi, Ma vid Vishavahi. Let us not quarrel with each other, quarrel with each other. What is the fight going to happen? I don't even give you a chance to even ask a question here. What is there to fight? I start, I finish. What is there to argue here? But then what is that we chant? Because what is going to be transacted now is is going to be exactly opposite to your core belief. Sir, let Brahman be Satyam. I don't have a problem with that. But don't tell me the world is Mithya. That's impossible to digest. And to speak on that and explain with that such conviction, say, that's it. It is not this, it is not this, it is something beyond all this. Demands a tremendous courage. The courageous presentation he gives here, Krishna. Therefore we chant, Om Tat Sat Iti Srimad Bhagavad Gita Tsu Upanishatsu. Bhagavad Gita is equated to Upanishad only because of the 15th chapter. If you take out that 15th chapter from the Bhagavad Gita, finished. Like they say, the central jewel of this Mahabharata is Bhagavad Gita. What is the central jewel of Bhagavad Gita? 18 chapters. 15th chapter. Minus this 15th chapter, Bhagavad Gita has no very ordinary text. One more text, it's okay text only. Yeah, nice one, but then the real strength of Bhagavad Gita is this chapter. That's why it is traditionally, very auspicious. Because the truth is spoken uncompromising. In all other chapters, it's very, very diplomatic presentation. Sthita prajna, eka bhasha. Karma you have to do. Karmanyeva adhikarasti. All these things, okay. Mayi sarvani karmani sanyasyathyatma chetas. All the techniques given there. I am also doing work, you also do work. It's too ordinary. 13th chapter picks up. Right. It talks about Jnanam. 13th chapter, 12th chapter, Bhakti. 13th chapter, Jnana. 14th chapter, Guna. 15th chapter, Brahman. Bhagavad Gita over. Right. Strictly speaking, Bhagavad Gita over from end of 15th chapter, Gita over. After that line is just, very, very ordinary. You will see that the drop. The drop that you would experience, from the 15th chapter to the 16th chapter. Daiva Asura Sampat Vibhaga Yoga. Qualities. It's like from where to where he drops. This is Daivim Sampat, this is Asurim Sampat, all that, divine quality, this is demonical quality. What divine, what demonic, man? Uttama Purusha you discuss. Come down to this. Because suddenly he comes back to Arjuna level, means our level. That chapter will be interesting. So from 14th chapter, we should actually straight go to 16th chapter. Then you can easy that is. But that interception of that 15th chapter, introduction of the 15th chapter, between that 14th and 16th is the best part. The positioning of it. See, strictly speaking, this 15th chapter should have been the discussion after 11. See, 10th chapter, descriptive presentation, analytical presentation of Vishwarupa. 11th chapter, he actually shows that Vishwarupa. Right. Next one should be what? Hey, I am beyond all that, man. Purushottama Yoga should have come where? After 11th chapter. Instead of that, after the 11th chapter, he moves on to the 12th chapter where after Vishwarupa Yoga, Bhakti. After Bhakti, he comes to Jnanam. After Jnana, suddenly he branches off to something unconnected topic. Guna. From Guna, suddenly he jumps over to Brahman. You see, beautiful way of teaching. That's why he's a master. master teacher, na, Krishna. How beautifully he builds those ideas. How he weaves the entire text. It's the class of the Gita. 15 chapters, best part of it is this. So to connect will be a difficulty because no practical utility. One. Second one is qualification needed. Both are problem for us. We can connect to anything only if we are promised something. Qualification, though, forget. Shraddha, Vairagya, forget it. Without all these things, we have to study. You ask me why are you teaching it? Because it's there. Otherwise, I wouldn't prefer. If given a chance, I will skip 15th chapter. Because when I told Swamiji, he said, start teaching. He said, after 3 years, what do you want me to do? He said, study, teach. That's all. What else to do? Study, not a problem. I said, teaching what? Teach. Swamiji, 15th chapter, you want me to teach? He said, that's the question I asked him. 15th chapter. How can I teach 15th chapter? And the first yajna which I organized was 15th chapter. What a beautiful, such a fantastic coincidence. The first one. And he said, start teaching. Chumma pesra. Simply talk, no? What is the problem? Not teaching. He didn't use the word teaching. He said, simply talk. Just talk. On 15th chapter, Swamiji asked. Of course, he didn't say anything. Obviously, it means what? Don't take. It's a core philosophy. The heart of Bhagavad Gita is this 15th chapter. See you next class.